So namaste, everyone. Welcome to practice today. My name is Patti, and I'm going to guide you through practice. Before we begin, I will read our waiver. You're welcome to find a comfortable seated position. In order to make these classes as freely accessible as possible to our participants, we will be using a verbal warning and assumption of risk at the beginning of class. Participation in this online class is voluntary. Physical activity programs may result in injury, and by participating, you assume the risk of injury that may result from your participation. We strongly recommend that you participate from a space that is suitable for this activity. For example, make sure that you have moved nearby furniture or other potential hazards. If you are participating in a yoga class or a class that involves laying on the ground, we recommend using a mat, or if you don't have one, a carpeted area. Participants are encouraged to stop if they experience pain or injury and should seek appropriate medical advice or care as needed. William & Mary Health and Wellness strongly recommends that each participant have an annual physical exam and follow the advice of your healthcare provider before participating. So again, welcome. So the focus of all of my practices this week, all of my classes have been self or center. And they were inspired by a quote from the Upanishads. So I'll share that quote with you. The self is everywhere. Bright is the self, indivisible, untouched by sin, wise, eminent, and transcendent. He it is who holds the cosmos together. So as you find that comfortable seated position, maybe starting to turn your awareness inwards, allowing yourself some subtle movement to settle into the space, finding those sit bones, drawing the crown of the head up towards the ceiling. Allowing yourself to notice the breath, noticing its natural rhythm with the body. Allowing the hands to just rest comfortably on the legs or the knees. As you draw awareness into the core, start lifting the navel up towards the rib cage, getting a little more core engagement. Noticing the shift in breath. Taking a moment here to just draw in a little bit more breath on the inhale, deepening, lengthening the exhale. As you expand the breath, see if you can draw a little more awareness into the spine, expanding the spine a little more. Taking a couple more rounds of breath here. Making your way to your deepest inhale, your longest exhale. And then settling into a rhythm of breath that just feels right for you in this moment. There's no right or wrong to this. Knowing this breath throughout practice is truly important. If we just sat here for the next 45 minutes and we're breathing, we'd be practicing yoga. So let the breath be your guide. As we move into our practice, let the movement be guided by the breath. Know that the breath is truly your guru today. I'm just a guide. Once you have that beautiful rhythm of breath, we're going to transition from here into tabletop. Noticing the breath shift and change as you add a little more movement. And as you set up your tabletop, taking the time to maybe just rock side to side. Spread the fingers wide on the mat. Draw the shoulders over the wrists, letting the weight equally distribute in the hand. And then making sure the knees are underneath the hips, taking that quick peek between the legs, engaging the core, maybe starting to press the tops of the feet into the mat a little more. Notice the core engaged, notice the finger pads gripping the mat. And then drawing awareness to the top of the mat. Take the gaze there. Let the navel start to lower as you find your cow. Coming back to that neutral position of tabletop and then gently rounding into that cat back. Moving through cow and cat. Taking several rounds here as you notice what the spine is telling you first. And then drawing awareness around the body, maybe adding some more movement in, maybe some circles with the hips, maybe some gentle rocking forward and backwards. Maybe it's a figure 8. Whatever movement you decide to do, make sure that you pause and go in the opposite directions. Drawing awareness into the other joints in the body, starting to listen to what they're telling you. And then making your way back to tabletop after the next round. Finding that stillness in your tabletop, super active tabletop. You're going to bring the big toes together. You're going to sink the hips towards the heels. And you're going to bring the hands along the side of the body, releasing the wrist, drawing the third eye to the mat. Finding child's pose here. And setting intention for practice today. As the third eye comes to the mat, allowing intention. Why did you come to the mat today? If nothing comes to mind, you can join me in my intention. Staying in center. Staying in self. Sealing your intention in, you're welcome to just gently rock the head right and left, massaging the forehead. If you feel tension in the face, allowing yourself maybe to open and close the jaw. And then making your way back to stillness, reaching the arms out in front, making your child's pose a little more active now. Gripping the mat with those finger pads. Noticing maybe the elbows lift up. Lengthening the spine, keeping the shoulder blades relaxed and down. And then on an inhale, starting to grip the mat a little bit more. You're going to draw yourself up so the hips come up. You're going to tuck the toes. You're going to lift the hips. And you're going to find your first downward dog of practice. Starting to draw awareness into the back side of the body. Allow yourself gentle movement here as you work your way through the posterior chain. Maybe a little more organic after a few rounds, maybe bumping the hips out or some circles. But when you're ready, finding stillness here and letting the heels sink down towards the mat. One more breath cycle. And then mindfully walking to the top of the mat, you're going to soften into a forward fold. Letting the abs and the chest rest on the quads. And then if it feels right to start lengthening the legs here. Letting yourself move in and out of that dynamically to start. If it feels right to hold on to opposite elbows, you're welcome to go here. Just a couple more rounds of breath here. Again, opening that posterior chain a little bit more. And then finding stillness, releasing the hands if they're holding onto the elbows. You're going to trace the hands up the shins. You're going to find that beautiful tabletop back here, that half lift. Exhale, you're going to release it. You're going to draw the hands to heart center. You're going to put that nice bend in the knees. Engaging the core, pressing into the feet. On an inhale, you're making your way up to Samastiti, hands at heart center. Pausing in Samastiti. And then releasing the hands along the side of the body, setting up your mountain pose. Drawing your awareness within again, closing the eyes if it feels right. Finding your center. On an inhale, you're going to lift the arms up and overhead. Take the gaze up if that feels right. Relax the shoulder blades back and down. Draw the palms together, interlace all the fingers, and gently start rocking side to side. If it feels right to come into steeple mudra here, you're welcome to. That gentle exploration of what the side bodies are telling you. And then making your way back to center, finding prayer hands, Anjali Mudra. You're going to float the hands through to heart center, Samastiti. Pause. Letting the hands release to the side for mountain. On an inhale, you're going to lift the arms up and overhead. On an exhale, you're going to swan dive it forward. Inhale, take a half lift. Exhale, release. Placing both hands on the mat, you're going to step back with the right foot. We're going to set up a low lunge here. From this space, you're going to take the right hand and place it on the floor inside that left foot, or if you'd like a block here, you're going to take the left hand, you're going to bring it to the sacrum, and you're going to open up. Stacking the shoulders. Maybe the gaze goes over that left shoulder. Maybe you'd like to lift the left arm up. Bringing the left hand back to the hip or the sacrum, spinning towards the front of the mat. Framing that front foot. You're going to untuck the back toe, lift the back knee. You're going to step back to a downward dog. Mindfully making your way to the top of the mat. Finding that forward fold. Inhale, you'll take a half lift. Exhale, release. Reaching the arms out to that T or hands at heart center. You're going to reverse your swan. You're coming all the way up and you're swan diving directly back down. Placing both hands on the floor, you're going to step back to that low lunge on the left side. Same thing here. Once you get it set up, maybe the block in Next to that right foot, left hand on the block, opening up with the hand on the hip or the sacrum. If it feels right to reach the arm up, go ahead and go there. Bringing the hand back down, framing the foot. Releasing the block, untuck the back toe, lift the back knee, step back to down dog. Rolling forward to plank from here, lowering the knees, lowering all the way down. Finding your version of a cobra here, so pressing the tops of the feet into the floor. Inhale, exhale back down. Making your way up to tabletop or plank, finding your downward dog. Making your way mindfully to the top of the mat. If you're ready to hop, go ahead and go there. Find that half lift. Exhale, release. Hands are coming to heart center. You're pressing into the feet. Nice long spine. Come on up. Finding Samastiti. Pausing here. Releasing the hands to mountain. Adding on from here. So, bringing hands to heart center. You're going to draw awareness into the left foot. You're just coming up onto the toes of the left foot. You're going to lift that foot off the floor, and you're just taking a natural step back. You'll notice the hip points are pointing towards the front of the room. The foot is probably on the left side at about a 40 to 45 degree angle. The feet are about hip width distance apart, so you feel stable here. From this space, you're going to bend into that front knee. Keeping that back foot on the mat. Keeping hands at heart center or reaching the arms up and overhead. So we're setting up warrior one here. Breathing into our warrior. Lengthening that back leg. Keeping the hips even. From here, we're going to draw the hands back to heart center. We're going to release the hands down to our hip creases, finding that space where the femur is coming into the hip. Holding on there, we're just going to hinge forward, finding that hinge. Nice flat back, pause if it feels right, and then come all the way back up. Now that we have this awareness, we're going to add some dynamic movement in. So hands at heart center, straightening the front leg, reaching the arms up, bringing the hands back down. Bend in the front knee. 2 more times at your pace, straightening, and then bending back in. Challenging your balance here. And then from here, with hands at heart center, we're going to straighten the front knee. We're going to bend back into the front knee as we start to hinge forward. Once you find that place for you that feels right, you're going to release the hands down to the mat, framing that front foot. And then from here, dynamically straightening the front knee, start to draw the head in towards that right leg. We'll do 3 rounds here. And then coming back to that bent knee, bringing hands to heart center. You're going to come on back up, challenging your balance again. Then from here, reaching the arms up and overhead. And now you're going to, with a nice long spine, come forward one more time. Bent knee, framing that front foot. You're going to take the left foot, step it back to a plank. Right foot to a plank. Lowering down to either cobra or up dog. Find downward dog. Making your way mindfully to the top of the mat. We're going to move a little quicker through that other side. That flow is a little different from things that we do. So taking a pause here in your forward fold. Drawing hands to heart center. Making your way up to Samasthiti. Releasing the hands to mountain. On an inhale, get length in the body. You're going to reach the arms up and overhead. Draw hands back through to Samasthiti. We're going to lift up that right foot. Step it back. Set up our warrior one on this side. Bend in that front knee. Hands at heart center. We'll do that dynamic movement. Straightening the front leg, lifting the arms up. 3 times. Then pausing with hands at heart center. We'll hinge forward. Finding that resistance, that core engagement. Feet on the floor. Come on back up. And then reaching the arms up and overhead. Coming forward, finding that left foot framed with the hands. You'll do that dynamic movement again on this side. Opening up that posterior chain. And then finding stillness for a moment. Bending into that left knee. Long spine, core engaged, hands to heart center, come on back up. Reaching the arms up and overhead for warrior one. Long spine as you hinge forward, hands frame the foot. Right foot's gonna step back, left foot's gonna step back. You're gonna take the flow of your choice. Remembering cat and cow is a flow. And then finding downward dog. Two breaths in down dog. Lower the knees. Find child's pose. Just checking in. What is your breath telling you? What is your body telling you? Are you able to stay centered and in self? And we have one more thing to add on to the flow. So making sure your blocks are at the top of your mat. As you're ready, make your way to down dog. And then mindfully making your way to the top of your mat. Sink deep into your forward fold. Trace the hands up the shins. Let's find that half lift. Exhale, release. Bringing hands to heart center. Find that core engagement. Press into the feet. Come on up. Releasing hands to the side, finding your mountain. So adding on here. On an inhale, lift the arms up and overhead. Exhale, draw hands through to heart center. Coming up onto the toes of the left foot. You're going to step back and find that warrior one. Make sure that back leg is nice and grounded, bend in. We're just gonna hinge forward here with hands at heart center. Come on back up. Releasing the arms up and overhead. We're gonna hinge forward, framing the front foot, finding that pyramid pose. Bending into the right knee, coming on back up, finding warrior one. Then from here, taking the right hand, bring it to the sacrum. Left hand is gonna reach forward and you're gonna cross over and find the outside edge of that right foot. Maybe you're blocked here. Spinning open, maybe you lift up the right arm. Bringing the right arm down to the sacrum, coming on back, up, finding warrior one, bending into that knee. Reaching forward, coming back down with hands to the mat, stepping back with the left foot, then the right, taking the flow of your choice, meeting and down, making your way to the top of the mat, finding that forward fold. Inhale, take that half left, and we're gonna pause in this half left. Core engaged, start shafting the hips forward, hips over heels. Exhale, release. Reaching the arms out to a T, press into the feet, long spine, come all the way up. Hands are gonna come up and overhead here. They're gonna meet in prayer hand. We're gonna take a little back bend here. Coming back to neutral. Heart center. Pause as we get ready to go to the other side. Then as you're ready, you're going to draw awareness into that right foot. And you're going to find your warrior one on this side. With hands at heart center, you're just going to do that hinge forward. Bowing to self. Coming on back up. Reaching the arms back up into warrior one. Hinging forward, finding that pyramid pose. So straightening that front leg when it feels right, if it feels right. Bending into the knee, drawing hands to heart center. Come on back up. Warrior one. Now from this space, taking that left hand to the hip or sacrum, right arm's gonna reach across, finding the outer edge of that left foot, placing the hand on the block or the floor, spinning open, maybe lifting arm up. Hand back down to sacrum, arm reaches out in front as you come back up, finding that warrior one, leaning forward into, stepping back and finding the flow of your choice. Meeting in down dog. 2 breath cycles in down dog. Lower the knees and find child's pose. Checking in. So we'll play a little bit next. We've done some work opening that posterior chain of the body. We've had to do a lot of work with balance and finding that center. So we're going to have an opportunity to play. So as you're ready, you're going to reach the arms out in front. You're going to make your way to a down dog. And we're going to walk the hands towards center. We're going to walk the feet towards center. We're just coming to the center of your mat. You're just going to find a half left, release. And then just making your way up, so reversing the swan or coming up through Samastiti, whatever your choice. And you're going to set up your mountain here in the center of your mat. So we're going to move through some balance. We're going to do quarter turns to the right and then quarter turns to the left. Each time we're going to add something on, and you all know it's always an option. You're welcome to just turn and stand in mountain if that feels right. So settling in. In this first space, if it feels right, just going to come up onto the toes of the left foot. You're going to lift the left leg up, bringing the leg parallel, flexion in the foot. And then drawing the foot back down to the mat on the left side, you're just going to take a quarter to your left. If you can, even imagine you've drawn a circle on your mat and you're staying in that circle with your feet. So adding on from here, remembering the first option, lifting up into a bent knee, a stork. If you want, lift and extend the leg out. Coming back down to center. We're going to take a pivot, one more quarter turn. Settling into your mountain, finding that inner strength. Moving into position 1, 2. Or if you would like, moving into Padangusthasana, reaching for the big toe and lifting it straight out, bringing it back in and to the floor. Taking one more quarter turn, and I'm going to stay facing you all here. You're going to come into either position 1, stork, extended leg, Padangusthasana, or maybe you'd like to add the twist into Padangusthasana. So reaching for that big toe, extending the leg out, not in my practice today, and reaching back with the arm to the left. I'm sorry, to the right. Wherever you're at, bringing the foot to the floor, you're going to pivot back to the front of the mat. You have the opportunity here, if you'd like to cleanse the spine, going through one more Vinyasa flow. Wherever you're at, we're going to meet back in the center of your mat as we get ready to do this whole thing on the other side. So find that mat coming up onto the toes of the right leg, finding that stork on this side, bringing the feet back to the floor. taking a quarter turn, moving into either stork or extended leg. Bringing that right foot back, take another quarter turn. Into either stork, extended leg, or reaching for the big toe, Padangusthasana. Bringing yourself back to center. Taking that final pivot. Moving into your expression. Maybe adding that twist, reaching back with the left hand. Coming back to facing the front of your mat. Pausing for a moment. And then reaching the arms up and overhead. We're just going to take a little baby back bend here. We're going to come back to neutral and we're going to swan dive forward. We're going to inhale, take a half left. Exhale, we're going to release. We're placing the hands on the mat. We're just coming down to tabletop. You're going to take a cat and a cow here in tabletop. And then you're going to swing the legs around to either the right or the left. And we're going to set up Dandasana. So if you have your block or your book, you might want to place one at the top of the mat. As we spend a lot of time opening up here, hopefully, everyone's going to get a little deeper into this posture. So setting up Dandasana, getting the spine nice and long, that beautiful staff pose. You're going to reach up and overhead. Palms are facing each other. You're going to turn the palms towards the front or the top of your mat. You're going to hinge at that hip crease and you're going to reach for the feet. You know that's always available to bend the knees if you can't get to the toes. For those that this is easy, you can take the block and place it in a book along that edge of the feet, holding on, coming a little deeper. Breathe. After a few rounds, if it feels like your body's calling for it, rounding the back. If you're using a prop, you're going to release the prop. Everyone's going to make their way to that long spine again. Hands are going to face each other. We're coming up with our core. Bringing the hands to heart center. We're going to make our way down onto the mat. So remembering, if you want to bend your knees, you can. If you want to challenge yourself, you can do it for a longer count. Whatever you decide to do, you are articulating that spine. Letting the hands come along the side of the body for just a moment. We're going to bring the feet to the floor. Knees are going to be facing up. Grounding down into the feet. Let's just do some bridges here just to release. We did a lot of centering and core work. After 3 or 4 rounds, if you'd like to take a full bridge and hold it, you're welcome to. And when you're finished with your bridges, just hugging the knees into the chest for a moment. Then releasing the left leg long on the mat. We're going to come into a twist, so drawing the right leg across the body with the left hand, the right arm goes to your cactus. Pause here. Inhaling that right knee back to center, you're going to hug that knee in and then draw the left knee in, releasing the right leg long. And then taking the right hand, drawing that knee across the body as the left hand comes out to a T. Maybe it's a cactus on this side. And then drawing that knee back in center, hugging the knees in one more time. Before you go into your shavasana, if it feels like you'd like to have either a happy baby or a legs up the wall, you're welcome to. But as you're ready, making your way in to your shavasana, that shape that feels right for you. As we'll close class in shavasana, taking the time here to find that space. Coming back to our quote from the Isha Upanishad, the self is everywhere. Bright is the self, indivisible, untouched by sin, wise, immanent, and transcendent. He it is who holds the cosmos together. As we've taken this time, I thank you all for the privilege of guiding you through this practice. I truly hope the benefits of practice follow you into the rest of your day. May you all be happy. May you be safe. May you walk this earth always in loving kindness, at peace, and always at ease. From my heart to all of your hearts, Namo Namaha, Namaste.